What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So the Packers minicamp starts this week as we finish OTA last week. They have 3 days of minicamp, one today, one tomorrow, which are both open to the media, and then they usually do a team building exercise on the third day, something like paintball of that sort they've done in the past years, so they might do something like that. I think that'll be on Thursday, but nonetheless, we have 2 days, today and tomorrow, open to the media, so that means we have some highlights, and I have a lot today to break down and go over for you guys. As always, shout out to the beat writers that are at the practice taking these videos. I'll put their Twitter handles all in the description below. And if you do happen to be a new viewer on this video and to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you went down and clicked the subscribe button. Also leave a like on the video. It supports my channel a ton, helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, and I post Packers content all the time, especially during off-season activities such as OTAs, minicamp, and then when we get into training camp, I'll be posting pretty much 2 videos a day with the highlights from training camp as well as recaps, just like I did during OTAs and like I'll do with minicamp here today. So if that does interest you, go down and click the subscribe button. All right, so without further ado, let's bring up the screen, and our first clip is of Josiah Alexander and Rasul Douglas. Now, this is important because they are back at practice. As we remember last week during OTAs, Rasul Douglas and Josiah Alexander were absent, and OTAs are voluntary, so they had every right to not show up to those practices. Now, the difference between OTAs and minicamp is mandatory, so it would have been a problem if we didn't see someone like Josiah Alexander here, because then it would have kind of told us that, hey, maybe he's holding out, maybe he wants a revised contract and more annual money, which, to be fair, Josiah could do that, but I'm happy to see him not. Happy to see both of these cornerbacks back in the building. Here's another clip of both Rasul and Josiah Alexander. Like I said, nice to have these guys back in the building because last week it was Corey Ballantyne, Shamar Jean-Charles, and Keyshawn Nixon starting at cornerback, which is fine, but I want to see these young wide receivers go against guys like Josiah Alexander and Rasul Douglas. It's trial by fire, forged by fire, however you want to put it, and these young receivers need to be matched up against Josiah Alexander to learn and get better. Now, here's a video of Eric Stokes during warm-up, and this is very important because we didn't really know the time frame for Eric Stokes, and he's moving around really nicely here, in my opinion. He really had a significant injury with his ankle foot. I believe he had like a Liz Frank injury in his foot. He had a bunch of issues with that leg. I forget which leg exactly was, but it's a good sign here that he doesn't have any ankle wraps or a knee wrap or anything of that sort. And it looks like he's moving around without any issues. Now, he didn't practice today, and I don't think he will during minicamp, but this is a good sign for heading towards training camp that Eric Stokes could potentially, start practicing in some capacity in training camp, and then maybe even play come week 1. I think Rasul and Jair are cornerbacks 1 and 2, and Keyshawn Nixon will open in the slot, but it'll be nice to have Eric Stokes at least available in sub capacity and on a snap count at least week 1. We'll see what happens, but he looks really good here. Another player that returned is Packers 5th round rookie wide receiver, Tay Wicks, and I'm super excited about Tay Wicks. I actually made a video about him going over his tape from college, so if you want to go watch that and you haven't already, click the link right above. I really suggest watching that video after this one to see what kind of wide receiver he is and what he brings to the Green Bay Packers. I think he'll be an awesome 4th wide receiver in this offense, a depth guy, might not get a ton of snaps year 1, but I think he will add a lot to this Packers offense in general as an outside wide receiver. Super excited for Tay Wicks. Here's a video of running back Tyler Goodson, my running back 3. I know they drafted Lou Nichols. I know they have Patrick Taylor, but I just love Tyler Goodson so much, and I know a lot of people do that watch my videos as well. And if you've been watching for over a year, you know I was super high on Tyler Goodson as an undrafted free agent coming out of Iowa last year. I just think he has a great one-cut running back, super fast, super great agility, and also a very nice receiver, as we see here in a receiving clip. And I have one more after this with an even better clip of him, showing his receiving capability. Super excited for Tyler Goodson. I do believe he is running back 3. As I said, I have one more clip of Tyler Goodson. Here's Goodson running a nasty zig route out of the backfield. I mean, he just looks like a slot receiver running that route, and that speaks volume. To have a guy like that, I mean, we already kind of do with Aaron Jones, but to have another guy like that with a capability to be a real threat out of the backfield in the receiving game. But not only that, he's a good runner, and he's done really well so far this offseason during OTAs. He's been by far the clear and obvious number 3 running back behind Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and I do believe when the 53-man roster comes around, Tyler Goodson will be running back 3 of the Green Bay Packers. Now I have some tight end clips for you guys, and first is second-round pick Luke Musgrave running a quick out route thrown by Danny Etling. Man, Luke Musgrave has been showing out during OTAs and now minicamp. Now, of course, like I said, there's no pads, and he looks really, really fast probably because there's no pads. But Luke Musgrave is really, really fast. He's built like a wide receiver. He has the frame or speed of a wide receiver, it seems, but the frame of a tight end. And his ability to get in and out of this route, catch the ball, and burst upfield. Super excited to finally have, a real vertical threat tight end for the Green Bay Packers. I feel like they haven't had that in so long, and I think Musgrave will add a whole different dynamic to this offense. And here we have the same thing, but with Tucker Kraft running the out route, a throw by Jordan Love. I feel like Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft are yin and yang. They complement each other so much. Musgrave more of that move vertical tight end, and Kraft more of that inline tight end. But Kraft is an excellent receiver as well. He did really well in college, but he's an even better blocker. This dude is super strong, a ferocious blocker, plays super tough. I'm excited for both of these tight ends. Like I said, they complement each other very, very well, and I'm so glad the Packers spent a second round and a third round on tight end when that tight end room was probably the weakest position group in the Packers' entire football team. So for them to go out and spend a second round and a third round in a very strong tight end class, I think was the perfect way to go about it, and I loved both Musgrave and Kraft coming out of college. And speaking of blocking tight ends, here's both Musgrave and Kraft doing a blocking drill. It's going to be a interesting transition going from someone like Mercedes Lewis, who one of probably the best, if not the best tight end, or blocking tight ends in the NFL, not going to be on the roster anymore. So there's going to be big shoes to fill for someone like Tucker Kraft or Josiah Deguara. And I think right now in that building, that tight end room, Tucker Kraft is the best blocker, so he will be that inline guy. But Mercedes Lewis was kind of like a sixth lineman. I don't know if Tucker Kraft is going to be that right off the bat, but I think he definitely can grow into that, with also showing a lot more receiving promise than Mercedes Lewis did that late in his career. So I think Tucker Kraft can do it all. I think he's going to be an excellent blocker in the run game, even in the pass game. And as I said before, both these tight ends just complement each other so well. And I have one more clip of Tucker Kraft, a lot of tight end clips today, and it's a slow-mo clip. That's the rage nowadays. Show some slow-mo clips of players. And Tucker Kraft, I saw some funny comments saying he is one of the most angriest runs in the NFL. And I could see it. Like, if this is full speed, you kind of see he runs very angry. So I'm kind of excited to finally get into the season and just see one play where Tucker Kraft is in open field with the ball in his hands, and he's just running super angry, just barreling over defenders. I feel like that's definitely going to happen. And you want an inline tight end to have that dynamic. An angry runner, very physical guy, a guy that wants contact, doesn't stray away from contact. He wants contact. That is Tucker Kraft. Here's a clip of Jordan Love throwing a deep right rainbow to Jayden Reed, the second-round wide receiver. It looked like a corner route, nice over-the-shoulder throw, just a nice touch pass. A wide receiver, I am fully on board that hype train. Obviously, if you've been watching my channel, I've said it before, I wasn't too aware of Jayden Reed when they drafted him. I was a little shocked due to many things like his threshold and where the Packers technically draft wide receivers and their size and whatnot. But once I did my research, I love Jayden Reed. I am so excited. I'm fully on board that hype train. I don't care if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think Jayden Reed is our day one slot wide receiver and can do more than that. He can play outside, can be our jet motion guy. He can do so much. He's super fast, explosive. I think he's our day one slot wide receiver, and he's going to be on the field day one. He's going to contribute day one. Here's a clip of wide receiver Christian Watson running a dig route, and I don't know if it's just me, or the fact that they're not wearing pads, or the fact that it's inside the Don Hutson Center today and on turf, but Christian Watson looks even faster. And I feel like this year, it's looking like he's getting in and out of his breaks on his routes much, much quicker. It looks like he's been training really, really hard this offseason on his route running ability and his one-cut ability on routes such as a dig route. Really nice ran route here, stemming inside, making that one cut across the field, and a nice throw by Jordan Love to lead outside his frame and pretty much allow him to run into that catch and then get upfield. I think Christian Watson's going to have a nice sophomore jump. I think, like I said, he's been working on his route running ability, which was kind of his weakness last year. Not saying he was a terrible route runner, but if he can get that to a T and run it like he is here consistently, I mean, look out. I think this guy is destined to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver with the physicalities he has and all the abilities he has. Now, here in this clip, we have Watson at the bottom and Dobbs at the top. Jordan Love is going to be throwing a 9 to Dobbs, and Etling's going to be throwing a 9 to Watson. But the camera's more focused on Romeo Dobbs here. So Love and Dobbs have had a very nice connection this offseason thus far. It's especially in OTAs. It feels like Jordan Love's #1 target in the 11 versus 11s has been to Romeo Dobbs. It seems like when there's a play running and it ends up in a big gain, a lot of the time it is to Romeo Dobbs. So really nice to see them forming the connection there. I would like to see him start to do the same thing with Christian Watson, but Romeo Dobbs, nonetheless, also a receiver going into his second year that I could see also making that jump. It's going to be very important for both of these wide receivers to make that jump in order for this offense to really do anything in the passing game, because it's going to come down to those two guys and Jordan Love. And if those two guys aren't on the same page and doing things correct with Jordan Love, it's simply not going to work. But I do believe they will be able to do that. It's a young wide receiver room, but Romeo Dobbs is already taking a leadership role, and it seems like he's already really growing with Jordan Love and building that rapport, building that connection. And I'm all here for it. I'm so ready for year 2 of Dobbs and Watson. Here we have a clip of Danny Etling throwing to Jayden Reed, and I feel like the energy today in today's practice has just been, above and beyond. I feel like during OTAs, it seemed like sometimes they were running like 75% during these warm-up routes and whatnot. But I feel like in the Don Hudson today, during this mandatory minicamp, they have tuned it way up. They're running like 100 to 110% on these routes. Jayden Reed super fast. Like I said, there's no pads and it's on the turf, so everyone's going to look a little bit faster than they might actually be. But Jayden Reed is a burner. His 40-yard time doesn't speak volume to how quick this guy is on the field. He gets in and out of his routes and upfield super fast. Here we have a clip of Packers rookie quarterback Sean Clifford throwing a deep route to Josiah Deguara. A lot of people have been impressed by Sean Clifford thus far in offseason, and I do believe he will be quarterback number 2. I just believe he offers more promise and potential than someone like Danny Etling, and the Packers put a 5th-round draft selection on him, so I don't see any way, shape, or form him not making the roster. If he was, say, like a 7th-round guy, then yeah, maybe I could see him getting to the practice squad and Etling taking that spot. But to me, it's Sean Clifford, and he has been impressing during OTAs. We'll see what he does during this minicamp and then going into training camp and the preseason, because he'll get plenty of playing time in the preseason as well. Now, here's an awesome clip of Josiah Deguara catching a one-handed catch over the top here. I've seen a lot of reports that a dark horse breakout candidate is Josiah Deguara. And the reason it's a dark horse because a lot of people, myself included, think Deguara is solely that H-back type of role tight end. But I also do believe he could be used as any type of tight end. I believe he has decent blocking. He could be used as somewhat of a move tight end. He has some vertical capability, as we see here. And I think he can be a good receiving threat tight end as well. I think he can be kind of that jack of all trades type of guy, the kind of guy they drafted him out of Cincinnati to be. So a lot of people think Musgrave and Kraft are going to steal the show right away, but I think they're going to maybe give Deguara a lot of snaps to begin because he has that veteran presence. He's been in the offense for a few years now. He knows exactly what to do. So he's definitely going to get the opportunity. He's definitely going to get the snaps. So if he plays up to his potential and takes a big jump, he could definitely be a breakout candidate. And the last clip is some kicker content, some special teams content. We have rookie kicker Anders Carlson kicking a field goal here from about the 22-yard line. Nice kick by Carlson. We haven't really seen many clips of him this entire offseason, and he's most likely going to be the Packers kicker going into week 1. I doubt they bring Mason Crosby back. They might bring in a couple more guys during training camp or something of that sort for competition. But, they spent a 6th-round pick on him, just like they did Mason Crosby back in the day. So I feel like they're just going to roll with Anders Carlson. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the pick, but the Packers did need a kicker, so I kind of understand it. Let's at least let the man play through his first season and see how it goes. Could become a very, very good kicker. He already has a brother in the NFL, Daniel Carlson, so we'll see how it goes, but Anders Carlson looks like he's going to be kicker 1 going into the season. So that does it for all the clips of minicamp day 1. There were a lot of clips. I loved the energy from today's practice. I'll be putting out a recap, the main takeaways from the 11 versus 11 periods after this video. Of course, those can't be filmed. I wish they could, but they simply cannot. So I'll have to put out a video just kind of going over that, everything that happened in the 11-11 portion. So be on the lookout for that video as well. Again, leave a like down below if you did like this video. Thank you guys for all the support. Appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.